Hello, everyone. Welcome to Everything Arsenal. And third or fourth live stream of the day, we finally announced Jorginho. It always takes time with Arsenal, but you expect it to be announced closer to the deadline. That is our third signing of the transfer window. Now, for the ones already here, quick question. At the beginning of the transfer window, January 1st, how many signings did you want for this window? How many signings did you want Arsenal to originally make? Like, this is before you ever had Arsenal wanted Trossard, or Arsenal wanted Jorginho, or Chelsea have signed 100 players. Before every of that situations happened, how many players did you want Arsenal to sign at the beginning of the season? At the beginning of the window, January transfer window. How many players did you think we needed for this January transfer window? We've now signed 3 of them, a defender, a midfielder, and a winger. I actually have a feeling some of you would say 2 or 3, and most of you would say a midfielder, a forward player. Some of you wanted a striker, some of you wanted a winger. I don't think many of us wanted a defender, but we ended up getting a defender. So how many signings did you want Arsenal to make at the beginning of the window? We've now made 3. We rarely make 3 signings in a window. I remember we bought Aubameyang and Mkhitaryan in the same window, 2018, 2 players. I don't know if we got a third in that window. I think it was 2. And also a couple of years after that, we got Cedric and Pablo Mari in the same window. We rarely get more than 1 player in the January transfer window. So 3 is actually a change. Arsenal never get 3 players in the January transfer window. So that is something new for us. Maybe it's because we're top of the table and you're going for it this time around, but we have indeed signed 3 players when we usually sign 1 player or none. I remember this time last year, same time last year, January 31st of last year, we were on live streams crying because we had literally signed no one. We had signed no one at all at Arsenal that January transfer window. This time we signed 3, so there's been a couple of changes there. Last window we signed 0. This time we signed 3. Whether maybe one of them is not really a cup of tea. Maybe you didn't want all 3 of them. Maybe you totally want 3 totally different players. Doesn't really matter right now. We've gotten Trossard, we've gotten Kio, we've gotten Jorginho, the Arsenal players. It's now about focusing on the league. We have 19 games to go. We have hopefully 7 games to go in the Europa League, and let's see how it works out. So let me see. Nice to see all the welcomes for Jorginho from Olaitan, Clement, Jay as well, Kalindi, Elisa, Shaggy, Ephesians as well, Moses as well, Wanda as well, Wiz, Obia. Thank all the welcomes for Jorginho. Our third signing of the transfer window. Watford says he's our player now. We have to welcome him and cherish him. Yeah, whatever we had to say about him before, that now goes out of the water. Now we have to support him as an Arsenal player. If Partey is not there, he's the one who's going to be playing. So we have to support him. Those with negative comments about him, that's your problem to deal with. New number 20, an Arsenal fan. I'm proud of this transfer, says Watford this year. I appreciate the positivity. Let's see. At least Moses wanted 5 signings. Again, is this before you saw Chelsea's transfer business or just before? Because I think 5 is a bit unrealistic. We were never ever going to get 5 plus. I don't think we needed to get 5 plus at the beginning of the window. But that is your opinion. Moses wanted 5. Watford wanted 3. How are you, Canon? Nice seeing you here. What do you make of the window? So my question was, how many signings do you think Arsenal needed at the beginning of the transfer window? 1, 2, 3, and which positions do you want us to sort out? But first, let's go through the Arsenal website and see what they have to say about Jorginho and him joining Arsenal. So Italian international Jorginho has joined us from Chelsea. I know that it's something people do not like seeing, joined us from Chelsea. I think even if Messi was joining us, but he was joining us from Chelsea, many people would not love it anyway. The 31-year-old midfielder who has made 143 Premier League appearances joins us with a vast amount of experience of both club and international football. In addition to making nearly 500 club appearances during his career, he has been a regular in the Italy national team squad for more than 5 years, making 46 appearances and winning Euro 2020 with his country. Since joining Chelsea, Jorginho has been a fixture in their Premier League side and won the UEFA Champions League, UEFA Europa League, UEFA Super Cup, and FIFA Club World Cup. I actually had forgotten about him winning the Europa League. They actually beat us in 2019. I didn't remember he was there, but obviously he was there. It was under Maurizio Sarri, the one who signed him. He started his career in the youth academy at Italian club Verona, where he spent 4 seasons in the first team, making 96 appearances before moving to Serie A side Napoli. There he won the Coppa Italia and the Super Coppa Italiana in 2014 and made 160 appearances during his 4 seasons with the club. So what did Edu have to say about him? Jorginho is an established professional with a strong mentality who brings quality and experience into our squad. He is a player who fits our style of play, and he joins us at a very good moment where he can contribute in a key position to help maintain our momentum. We welcome Jorginho to Arsenal. So I do say he's a player who fits into our system. And it's a good time to sign him, according to Edu. And according to Mikel Arteta, Jorginho is a midfield player with intelligence, deep leadership skills, and a huge amount of Premier League and international experience. Jorginho has won in his career, but he still has the hunger and huge willingness to contribute here. We are so pleased to sign Jorginho, welcome him and his family to the club. Jorginho will wear the number 20 shirt. That is the same number that Mustafi used to wear. big boots to fill. Mustafi is an Arsenal legend. So you have a big boots to fill. Mustafi is the best ever Arsenal player. So that is a big number to fill, you know. Everyone at Arsenal welcomes Jorginho to the club. The transfer is subject to completion of regulatory processes. So he will wear the number 20. We know pretty much most of the details. He's joining us for 12 million pounds. 10 million you're paying right now, 2 million are going to pay them hopefully after we win the league. That would make perfect sense. But he joins us as our midfield covers El Neni's replacement, not Thomas Partey's replacement. It's just Thomas Partey's cover is Thomas El Neni's replacement. Basically, El Neni's out injured now. He will not be here. Lokonga has left the club as well on loan. So Jorginho is the one who's going to help out Partey and Xhaka in that role. So this transfer window, we've gotten a young player in a defender in Kiwior, and we've gotten 2 Premier League experienced players in Trossard and Jorginho. Trossard 28 and Jorginho 31. So you've got a couple of players who are experienced there. Again, as I said, most of you, even me myself, when I saw Arsenal wanted Jorginho, it doesn't really excite you all that, but you have to support what they're doing. I know he's not our top target this transfer window. We didn't get our top targets, but as a plan B, I don't think it's the worst signing. I know people will make it look like Jorginho is the worst player to ever play in the Premier League. That is definitely not true. He has his own quality. I actually just remembered as I finished the last live, I remember he was nominated for the Ballon d'Or a couple of seasons ago, if I'm not wrong. I think he finished like 3rd or 4th in the Ballon d'Or was it last year when Messi last won it? I think Jorginho finished third in the Ballon d'Or. So when was the last time we had a player who was in the top 3 in the Ballon d'Or, top 4? It's been long. So yes, he does have the core. I think it was 2021 where he's finished third or fourth in the Ballon d'Or. So yes, he's not a player who's the worst player to play in the Premier League. No, he's a player who's won all those trophies we've been told, and he's a player who's been finishing top 5 in the Ballon d'Or. He finished top 5 in the Ballon d'Or in 2021. So hopefully he can bring those qualities to Arsenal. Hopefully he's not finished, as people are saying. Hopefully he's not finished. Hopefully, again, another thing I don't agree with. I've seen comments saying Jorginho is coming to sabotage Arsenal. He's a Chelsea spy is coming to ruin Arsenal. Now, that I definitely don't agree with. Jorginho has won all those trophies. The one trophy that he has not won is the Premier League title. He wants to join Arsenal potentially to win the Premier League title, not to come and ruin Arsenal's season. He wants to win the Premier League title. He's also getting old, so he doesn't really have a lot of years in the Premier League. So you definitely want to win the Premier League with Arsenal. That is something he would want in his CV. So he's not coming to sabotage Arsenal. For Willian, it was different. Willian had already won all those things at Chelsea, the Premier League, the Champions League. He won the Champions League. I can't remember, but we aren't in the Champions League anywhere at that time. He had won the Europa League with them as well. So he had won every single competition that Arsenal was playing in at that time. So he didn't really need to win them with Arsenal. He had already won everything with Chelsea before. But with Jorginho, he still hasn't won the Premier League. So he can help us more than sabotage us. So you have to look at the positives. Again, for the ones who weren't in the earlier stream, we took a look at this, a comparison between Partey and Jorginho. And according to Sky Sports and the stats, Jorginho has been better than Partey this season in terms of tackles, interceptions, ball recoveries, and forward passing percentage. And especially in terms of ball recoveries, I was very surprised to see Jorginho ahead of Partey. And ball recoveries, you have to be very good. If you don't have the pace in midfield, you have to be very good in terms of positioning and just your tackling ability to get those ball recoveries and interceptions in midfield. But then again, we are being told that Jorginho is one of the slowest players in the Premier League, but he actually has a better recovery than Partey, according to the stats for this season. So obviously Partey is a way better player. We know that Partey is our first choice player, but looking at the stats, if you have Partey on the bench for one game and you bring in Jorginho, Partey doesn't even have to be injured for Jorginho to play. Some weeks you're going to have 3 games. Maybe even in the Premier League, you're going to have maybe Brentford, Everton, Fulham in the same week. You can play him against Everton in the weekend, but against Fulham in midweek, if you feel like it's a game you can win, you can just remove Partey, rest him for that one, bring on Jorginho for that game, and bring back Partey for the next game. So we don't really have to play Partey for all 3 games. I think we'll use Jorginho mostly in the Europa League, and again, as I say, that is a competition I want us to win, the Europa League. And to win it, we have to win 2 last 16 games, 2 quarterfinal games, 2 semi-final games, and 1 final game. Those are 7 games to win in the Europa League to get good results in to actually win that competition. So you need a squad for that. Also, looking at the, I'm going to do a separate video after this. I've already done it. I'm just going to upload it later in terms of how our bench is looking right now. 1 month ago, when you were playing Newcastle, our bench had Cedric, Holding, defenders, Turner. I think there's even a game we had like 2 goalkeepers on the bench, and then we had El Neni and Lokonga, and then I think we had Marquinhos, and we also had one of the youngsters. I can't remember who it was, but that was our bench. And then the only player you're looking at on that bench to come and change the game was really Fabio Vieira. Now, looking at our bench, it's definitely way better than what we had 1 month ago. You have Trossard who can come on for Martinelli. You have Fabio Vieira who can come on for Odegaard or Xhaka, whoever, depending on how the game is going. You have Tomiyasu who can come on for White. You have Tierney who can come on for Zinchenko. We now also have Kiwior, who we didn't have, who can come on for either Gabriel or Saliba, mostly for Gabriel because it's left-sided. But there's a lot you can do with that. You can bring back Ben White to centre-back, depending on how the game goes, how the injuries are affecting you. And you also have Jorginho who can come on for Thomas Partey who needs a rest, or you can even bring Jorginho on for Jacques and have both Partey and Jorginho on the pitch at the same time. So our bench definitely is looking way better than what we had. And we've added players who've played in the Premier League before, like Trossard and Jorginho in the transfer window, and Kiwior, who can also help us defensively. So we've definitely improved our bench, and that is what we wanted. There's one thing we always say that throughout the season, and also the rival fans said, Arsenal's first 11 is very good. Our first 11 is very, very good. Saka, Martinelli, even in Jesus, even Nketiah stand out to be good. Defenders as well, Saliba, Gabriel, all of them good in terms of first 11. We were not really going to sign a first team player. We weren't really going to sign a Saka replacement to come and replace Saka in the first team, or a player to come and replace Partey in the starting lineup. No, our starting 11 remains the same. We just needed bench players, because I remember that Newcastle game 0-0, there was no one to bring from the bench. Now we can bring on Jorginho, who is very good in terms of creativity, in terms of his passing, long passes. That is actually his major strength. From his time at Chelsea, his major strength is the passing and stuff, and also Napoli. That is why actually Sarri signed him for Chelsea, because of his passing ability in midfield and control. I also saw someone talking about it earlier. Whenever you're leading the game by like 2-1 or 1-0, and you're trying to waste time in the last 10 minutes, he can also help you keep the ball around the midfield and just pass it around and waste time. He can help you in terms of that as well. So there's that. But yeah, a lot of positives, but I'm sure some people would say there's still more negatives than positives. But I wouldn't really focus on the negatives right now. He's an Arsenal player. We have a Premier League to win. We have a Europa League to win. So let's just support him and see how he does. And our bench definitely looks better. 3 signings in the January transfer window. That is something Arsenal never do. We never sign more than 1 player in the January transfer window. And when we do that, it's usually a loan deal. We got Pablo Mari and Cedric. Pablo Mari and Cedric was on loan. And for Aubameyang and Mkhitaryan was basically an exchange with Sanchez. So we never really signed 2 players in the January transfer window. We've now signed 3. So that is already an improvement from Arsenal from the last 20 years. There's a January transfer window. We signed Karlstrom. Then the January transfer window, we signed Denis Suarez. It's never been good. We usually sign some terrible players in the January transfer window. And this time, I can't really say Jorginho and Trossard are terrible signings. No, he's not as bad as some of you are making it look like. No, he's not that bad. He was number 3 in the Ballon d'Or 2 years ago. Number 3 in the Ballon d'Or. You know how many players are there in the world? Some people finish their 50-year careers without ever getting into the top 100. So there's that. Obviously, that was 2 years ago. He might have grown in everything, but I guess it's great to add experience to our team. Let's see. Adebayo says Jorginho is not a maker. I actually think that is exactly what he is. He's a playmaking defensive midfielder. He's not really a combative, tough tackling midfielder. He's actually a passing defensive midfielder. We've signed good players, says maybe. So again, speaking of that, let me know what you'd rate this transfer window out of 10. So far, we have signed Trossard. We've signed, let me see if I can get it. We've signed, where is that? We've signed Trossard. We've signed Kiwior, and we've signed Jorginho as well. Those are 3 signings we've made. And we've sent Lokonga out on loan to Crystal Palace. We've sent Marquinhos out on loan to Norwich City. We are about to send out Cedric to Fulham. I'm going to come to that as well. Is there anyone I'm forgetting? No. So what do you rate that transfer window out of 10? If we don't sign any other players and if we don't get rid of any other players, how would you rate that signing out of 10? So would you give it a 7, 8, 9, 10? Let me know, and then I'll give my rating later on. Out of 10, what would you guys give it? So I'll come back to Jorginho. Let me quickly talk about Cedric, because this is the news from like 40 minutes ago. According to David Ornstein, Fulham set to finalize signing of Cedric Suarez from Arsenal on straight loan until end of the season. It requires one of Fulham's existing Premier League loans to be turned permanent. And then, after that, we don't really care about Duffy and Brighton, but whatever they do with that, they're about to get Cedric, and Cedric is going there on loan, which means he's going to be back next season. I've also heard that Elneny's contract is going to be extended, so it looks like Elneny and Cedric are still going to be here next season, I guess, for the experience, but that is a story for another day. We are in this season. We have 4 months. We are waiting for what is going to happen for the next 4 months. That is what is important to us for right now. Let's see. Welcome to Arsenal. Welcome, Partey's cover. So yeah, at the beginning of the transfer window, I asked the same question, and most of you said we need 2 players. We need a Partey backup and a forward player. Some of you wanted a striker, some of you wanted a winger. Some of you said 3 players, get an attacker, get a defender, get a midfielder. Some of you said 3, but 2 midfielders. We've gotten 3 signings: a winger, a defender, and a midfielder. That is actually more than I expected us to do. I thought we were going to get like 2 players maximum, and we ended up getting 3. So there's that as well. Where is Caicedo? Caicedo is at Brighton. The moment it hits the next 2 hours, if Caicedo is not an Arsenal player, we are not going to talk about Caicedo. We are going to talk about the Arsenal players. But yeah, as I said, I still think we needed another midfielder. But personally, I wouldn't have paid 80 million for Caicedo. I wouldn't even. I actually felt like 70 million was too much as well. That is a player who's played less than 30 Premier League games. Yes, he might turn out to be very good in the next 1 year, 2 years. But again, in the next 2 years, Brighton could be selling him for 10 million as well, depending on how things go for him. So I'll potentially have gone for another midfielder, even after getting Jorginho through the door, but cheaper midfield, not really 80 million. That is a backup, by the way. So listen, Man City usually gets 90 million rated players or 90 million players, and they actually get them as backup. Like Grealish has been on Man City's bench like the whole of last season, and they paid 100 million for him. So that is the kind of competition you have to do. I have to compete with. But hopefully next season when you're in the Champions League, hopefully, and I know Chelsea will have improved their whole team, and Man City will have improved their team as well. Liverpool, United. So let's hope by next season our team will be better than right now. But as of now, looking at the team, as I said, if we start with the same starting lineup, I've already done a video for that. I'll post it separately. But after that, after looking at our starting lineup, our bench, we now have like 7-8 players. We still lack like one more player on the bench. I guess for the next few games, we're going to have a youngster on the bench, especially now that Cedric is leaving. But after all those players come back, Jesus, Smith-Rowe, and Nelson as well, then you have a good squad. You have a good 22 to 25 man squad to help you through the season without worrying about injuries. Alex says it would have been a 7 out of 10. That's not bad. Let's see. We need more midfielders, says Kelechi. I know, again, as I said, it's very easy to look at Chelsea and be like, okay, Chelsea have signed 50 players. Let's also try and get 20 players. The peak of the transfer was Trossard. The letdown of the window for me as not signing Onana, Amrabat in the CDM position. Shame. Again, considering they've gone for Jorginho as our midfielder, I'm guessing they're looking for a ball-playing defensive midfielder. I know Onana is quite good in terms of covering defensive midfield too, as basically a box-to-box midfielder. He can run with the ball forward and get to the end of a few chances in the opposition box. But in terms of passing ability from midfield, if that is what they were looking for, I guess Jorginho fits their bill. We still need Declan Rice, another striker. That is at the end of the season. That definitely cannot happen right now. Vlahovic, I don't want Vlahovic at Arsenal. Declan Rice is not going to leave West Ham. Let's see. I'm never comfortable with Jorginho, says Kenzie. I appreciate that. Hopefully he can prove you wrong. Just like Ramsdale, just like Ben White, just like Tomiyasu, just like Odegaard, just like Nketiah, just like Xhaka. Hopefully he can prove you wrong like those other players. Abdul says the transfer window has been a -5. Now, that is exaggerating. Be serious. 10 out of 10 says Lee. May says 8 out of 10. That is exactly what I'd give it to me, 8 out of 10. If you had got another midfielder, probably would have been 9 out of 10. But we've gotten a backup for Martinelli on that side. I'm slightly worried about Saka on that other side. I know Fabio Vieira can play there, and maybe if things get so bad, we can move Trossard to that side. But now we can bring on Trossard for Martinelli, but who can we bring on for Saka? So when I was doing that video, I was looking at our team, the Europa League and the Premier League. Now, after selling Marquinhos, Saka might have to play a lot of games, maybe get rested for maybe 1 or 2 and have Fabio Vieira on that side. But I don't really think wingers was our main problem. We needed midfielders first. Rashid says, welcome to Arsenal. Toib says 10 out of 10. 9 out of 10 from Munaf. Paul says 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 from Austin as well. So 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10. So most of you are giving it 7 and above out of 10. Personally, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. We have signed 3 players. That is something we never do. We've signed Premier League experienced players. That is something also back in the day Arsenal never used to do. I think we went like 10 years without signing a player from a fellow Premier League team, apart from the Chelsea players like Czech and Willian. But we went years without ever signing players. Like even back in the 2000s, like literally every single one of our players was coming from France and Spain, the likes of Nasri. We were signing everyone from France because of Arsene Wenger. We never usually used to sign players from the Premier League. And when we did, it usually turned out to be not so great, like William Gallas. So we've definitely changed our ways at the moment. Maybe you can say, maybe not so much in terms of signing a player from Chelsea, but let's see how that one works out. Again, important to remember, Jorginho is not coming to start for us. He's coming as a backup, so you might not ever see him for 90 minutes in a game. As a backup, I for 12 million, I don't think is the worst signing we've made. I can tell you like 10 worst signings we've made over the last 7 years alone. 9 out of 10 from Frederick, 2 out of 10 from Christian, 2 out of 10. Trossard by alone takes it direct to a 5 out of 10. Just signing Trossard alone, that takes it directly to a 5 out of 10. And then I've given Kiwior and Jorginho 1.5. That takes it to 8 out of 10. So 2 out of 10 is very low, but that's Christian's opinion. 8 out of 10, according to Emma. 5 out of 10 from Samuel. 6 out of 10 from Gabriel. 9 out of 10 from Alex. We have 2 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 5 out of 10. Vera lacks energy, but anyway, not bad though. Vera is not a signing for this transfer, but I get what you're saying. I think we're only going to see the best of Vieira next season, or maybe, hopefully, at the end of the season, and it's very crucial when Odegaard needs the rest. Vieira can surprise us. I mean, he has done that for a couple of games. I remember when he came on against Man United, he did well. Against Brentford, the way he did well. So, yeah. Fayomi says, trust the process. 8 out of 10. 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10. So most of you agree. Ryan says 4 out of 10. Okay, for the ones who are saying below 5, tell me why is it a 5? Why is it a 4 out of 10, 3 out of 10, 2 out of 10? Because I remember at the beginning of the transfer window, people said we need at least 2 players. We've gotten 3 players. We've gotten 2 players who are Premier League experienced. We've signed Trossard, who's already proved to be very good in the first 2 games. He was one of the players who helped us win that Man United game. We've signed a defender who's going to help Gabriel, a left-footed centre-back who's very rare to get in the market, a left-footed centre-back. I know Jorginho is not your cup of tea and stuff like that, but we have signed a midfield. As someone said in the earlier streams, it's better to get having half of a bread instead of none at all. So there's that. Again, another question was, would you have rather kept Lokonga or getting Jorginho? Most of you said getting Jorginho instead of keeping Lokonga. So 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10. Felix says, I don't like this signing. I mean, we have shared the same opinion for other players as well. I didn't want Odegaard. I wanted Maddison. Most people were not really happy with Ramsdale joining Arsenal. People wanted Leno to stay. I remember very well seeing articles writing, why the hell did Arsenal give away Martinez and sign Ramsdale? Well, Ramsdale is one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League right now. So let's hope he can prove us wrong like those other players. So far, again, why I don't agree with Edu out, Arteta out, and all that. 100%. There's a couple of players they've signed that have been bad, like Willian, for example. But out of like the 20 signings they've made, at least 15 of them have been good. So if you have 15 good signings and 5 bad signings, I would be happy with that rate of good signings. 15 out of 20 good signings, I don't think that is bad. Some of you would include Luis in the bad signing category. I don't think he was terrible in the second season. Some of you would include, or most of us would include Willian in the bad signing category. Some of you'd include Tavares and Lokonga in the bad signing category, but how many good players have we gotten? Zinchenko, Jesus, Ramsdale, Tomiyasu, Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel. There's a lot of good players we've gotten on that list. So let's hope this guy falls into that list. And so most of those players that I've mentioned, maybe apart, I think nearly everyone that I've just mentioned, no, and like 50% of Arsenal fans did not want them. People wanted Maddison instead of Odegaard. People did not want Ben White because he was 50 million. People did not want Ramsdale. People abused him because you were signing him from a relegated team. People were not happy with Tomiyasu because we signed him on deadline day when we were hoping for a midfield and he was coming from Bologna in Italy. People are not happy with that as well. But they've all turned out to be great. So even Zinchenko and Jesus, I remember very well. Arsenal are signing Manchester City's failures, basically. Did you see Zinchenko playing the other day? That does not look like a Man City failure. We are still short in midfield, says Ryan. I still think we needed one midfielder. Now, the player we've signed, Kiwi, or can play as a left back and maybe in midfield. I also always dream about seeing Ben White in midfield one day. I think he can do a very good job there as well. And if worse comes to worse and things, injuries galore throughout the season and you get like 5-6 injuries, maybe we'll have to play Xhaka in midfield. Maybe we'll have to push Zinchenko to the midfield. But the chances of that happening and us getting 5-6 injuries is very minimal. And I also remember we are going to get Smith Rowe back. We're going to get Nelson back for cover. I know not necessarily midfield, but they're going to help with the numbers for sure. So let's see. Half bread better than none, says Tochi. Alex says, are you pleased with Lokonga loan to Palace 100%? Mostly because it's a Premier League team. And second of all, because he's going to play under Vieira, potentially our best midfielder ever. So he's going to learn a thing or two. And he's also, I think Crystal Palace is also, sometimes they can be a very exciting team in terms of playing football with the likes of Zaha, Olise, Eze in midfield. They can be a very exciting team. And I think it was a good time for him to go, especially after the fallout after the Man City game. Maybe he was not really happy with Odegaard bashing him on the pitch, although Odegaard is the captain. Maybe he was not happy with Xhaka bashing him on the pitch. Obviously, people were waiting for the next game to say, you know what, Lokonga did not say appreciate the fans. He just walked out of that game after the final whistle. So I think it was the best time for him to go without playing the very next game. I think it was the best time for him to go. And to go to a Premier League team, I think he'll get the experience there. There's a lot of couple of experienced players in that team as well, the likes of Schlupp, who've won a Premier League title before, so he can learn a thing or two. And also, listen, if some people want Zaha at Arsenal, maybe you can convince him to join Arsenal after that. So you can look at it as in a positive way. So I'm happy that loan for Lokonga. I think it was the best time for him to go. 4 months as well, 5 months. And also considering Balogun is scoring goals against PSG. He's doing very well in France. Tavares has been scoring goals for Marseille from a wing-back position. He's been doing very well as well. So those ones have worked out in terms of loan deals. I've not kept up with Bjerth the last couple of months, but he was doing well at the beginning of his loan spell, I think, in Netherlands. So the loans sometimes work. We were never really a loan team. We never used to get players on loan or get send players out on loan. But these days, you have to, especially the young players that we sign like Tavares and Lokonga. Hopefully they can get some experience and we can sort that one out. And hopefully they can come back as different players next season. And if they don't come back next season, hopefully Lokonga can do well, just like Tavares and Balogun. And if we want to sell them, we can get good money for them. Like if you're going to sell Balogun right now, I think you can get something like 30 million at least, maybe even more. That is something that we were never going to get before you went out on loan. We were potentially going to get like 5 million for Balogun. If Tavares as well, if Tavares was sold at the beginning of this season, we'd have gotten like 5 million for him, or maybe even less. But now if he comes back, if he doesn't come back, we can get even 18 to 20 million for him, maybe even more. Who knows? I mean, teams are able to get like 60 million for average players, so who knows how much you're going to get for him. So I'm happy that Alex, great signing, backup better than Lokonga, says KSO, is it so? Arsenal need Tielemans. Tielemans is not going to leave Leicester as well. What about Miguel Aziz? I heard he's going to be sent out on loan again. Patina is also out on loan. I had Salah. Ollard is going to come back because of his injuries. Those are the young players who are out. There's players like Austin Trust, who's at Birmingham on loan as well. there's a player who's called Harry Clark as well, who's out on loan. We have several players out on loan. There's another signing I forgot that was terrible. Ranasson, yeah, that is potentially the worst signing. That was worse than Willian, and that is up there the worst signings we've ever made under this regime. Like that was terrible. Getting Ranasson for 1 million, that must even go down as one of the worst Premier League signings in general. So Trossard is quality. The ground running at Man City, at Man United, actually, Paul, and against Man City was great. I agree with that. Like he was very unlucky not to score in that game. Like you'd have gotten a goal and an assist in that game if things went our way. And it's great to, instead of you remember there's a time we brought in a 15-year-old from the bench, Nwaneri. We were bringing on 15-year-olds because maybe yes we wanted to disrespect Brentford because of how Tony usually respects us. But apart from that, we brought in a 15-year-old because we didn't really have anyone on the bench. Now the option of bringing in Trossard for Martinelli and bringing in Tomiyasu for Ben White, I think that's great. Like that, I'm at the point where I don't really care who starts between Tomiyasu and Ben White and Tinin Zinchenko, and hopefully Jorginho can surprise us all, and it turns out to be a very good player and helps us a lot this season. It would be great. I would absolutely love him to prove everyone wrong, and helps us with a couple of crucial penalties here and there, maybe in the Europa League, and just helps us with Partey as well in midfield. We've never really afforded, we've never been in a position where we can rest Partey. Hopefully now we can rest Partey for like a game and play Jorginho. And again, Jorginho, the other good thing with Jorginho is that we don't have to wait for a player who's coming from China or from USA and they're not used to the Premier League. No, this guy, like, you can even start him against Everton if you want over the weekend. I love the signings that I wanted Jorginho a long time before joining Chelsea. That is true. You wanted him at Napoli, so there's that. And you also wanted him that time we were about to sign Partey in 2020. So it's not like a panic buy. I don't think it's a panic buy. I think it's a plan B. I don't think it's a panic buy. 2011 was panic buys. When we signed Arteta and we signed Mertesacker and signed Santos, those were panic buys because we had just lost 8-2. Those were panic buys. Jorginho was a player that Arteta wanted for the last couple of seasons, or 2020 and before. He was when he was at Man City, but didn't really get him. And now we've not gotten a player that we gave them 70 million, they refused, and they were like, you know what, let's go to Chelsea and try and get Jorginho again, a player who's not lost his passing ability and his qualities totally in the last 2 years. Like he's not moved from let's say he was a 10, he's not dropped down from a 10 to a 0 right away. If he was a 10, maybe he's dropped down to a 7 or an 8. So let's hope he can help us. When will Jesus be back from injury? I think February. And when he comes back, all of a sudden you have Jesus and Nketiah as well, and Smith Rowe. You have Saka and Smith Rowe as well there as well, and Nelson can also help us. So we definitely have a better squad than what we had 1 month ago. That is the positive. Trust the coach, says Ali. I think our squad is balanced now, says Ajayi. Yes. Jorginho is better than what we don't have any Partey replacement. So he needs someone to help Saka. I think he can survive the next 3-4 games. The moment you get back Nelson and Smith Rowe and Fabio Vieira can also play on that wing as well. I think it's good. As well. Good one, says Leonard. Very nice job, says Adeyemi. So Jorginho is officially an Arsenal player. I'm thinking whether to do that tactical video live or just uploading it as a video to see how our squad looks like right now. I prefer Tielemans to Jorginho. Obviously, I do too, but Tielemans is not going to leave Leicester. So at the moment, I prefer Jorginho to Tielemans because Jorginho is an Arsenal player. He's not a Chelsea player anymore. And if he's done bad at Chelsea, if you feel like he's done bad at Chelsea, that is Chelsea. He's now going to be under, the best manager in the league. He's going to be playing under him. And also, I think they've bought themselves time, mostly because of that Xhaka thing. Most of us thought Xhaka was gone, and Xhaka is now playing like a combination of Gattuso, Pirlo, and Seedorf, like the 2006 AC Milan team in midfield. So let's see how it turns out. I really hope it does well. I'll be very happy, man, if it does well at Arsenal. Martin says, I don't think this is a good idea. Why? Just give me a reason why, and then I'll read it out. I can't wait for the weekend. Says Tanslers, I cannot wait too as well. Like these days, before every single game, my confidence levels are here. Like I'm expecting us to score in the first 5 minutes against Everton. These days, I'm not even expecting us just to win. I'm expecting us to score in the first 5 minutes of a game. And our fixture list looks good as well, apart from the time we face Man City. Even playing Man City, we played well against them the other day. I think we kept them down to like one shot on target to like the 70th minute. I think Man City had like 2 shots in total on target that game. That gave me a lot of confidence. They had their first team. We had 6 of our second team players on the pitch. So how far Caicedo is not going to leave Brighton. Brighton have refused. Even if we gave them 90 million, I don't think they would have let him go. Potentially because they're in a very good position in the league and they know they might get the Europa League position or the Europa Conference League position. I think that is why they don't want to give their players. And they've given out so many players, Brighton. Ben White, Trossard, Bissouma, Cucurella. They've even given away their coach as well. The last 1 year, they've given away so many players. So if they keep giving away players, I think they'll drop down the table. So that is definitely not going to happen. But he's also not going to go to Chelsea. He's not going to leave Brighton. I'm happy as an Arsenal fan, says Augustine from Sierra Leone. Let's wait and see. The guy will bring Arsenal will bring on the table. There's that as well. No problem with that opinion, Kipto. No problem with you thinking that as long as we don't abuse him or anything, and hopefully he can prove you wrong. Hopefully he can prove you wrong. As I said, I can probably write 20 good reasons of signing him, but also at the same time, you can probably make the same list of 20 bad reasons or bad 20 negative things about signing him and stuff. But he's not an Arsenal player. You have to support it. And then you have to keep in your mind, forget about Willian, forget about Tavares, forget about Ranasson. Let's remember what has happened with Xhaka. Let's remember what has happened with Nketiah. Let's remember what happened with Ramsdale and Ben White. We didn't want these players at Arsenal, and they all turned out to be good. So let's hope the same thing happens with Jorginho. So, yeah. Good signing despite his age, is equally a good and quality player, says Lucky. It's a good player. Let's see. But he's not coming to Arsenal because he's a Chelsea spy. No, I'm pretty sure he wants to win the Premier League as well, something that he's never won. So he's going to help us. Our bench is still not strong enough. I want Aaron says, about my Jesus. Jesus is going to come back. I cannot wait for him to come back. I really want him to come back as well. Can't wait to see how it does. So you know what? I'm going to do the video as a live stream, the tactical video. So I'm going to schedule that for the next 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So stay up if it's late at your place. Stay up, and I'll be back in the next 30 minutes to do that tactical video. And let's see. Let's come back and answer this question, Aaron. Our bench is still not strong enough. Let's find out in the next video. Thank you for watching. I'll catch up with you very, very soon once again.